And we're live. Hello, it's Melinda. And today I'm joined by my very special guest, Irina, and she's going to share her dynamic story of how she rebuilt her life literally after a broken relationship and what she overcame, how she did it, and what she does now. If you are looking for the links to find out more about what she does, where you can hook up with her socially, I put these in the comment section. So please, by all means, show her some love and visit her. I'm going to let you take it away.
Thank you, Melinda. It is a pleasure to be here, and thank you for my introduction. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
I became a single parent 7 years ago, 7.5, when my son was born, and my daughter was 5 years old. And it was a dark time in my life because I found out about a different alternative plans for my spouse, and I felt like half part of me was broken,
Mm.
and my baby in my bottom half was still inside, and I felt that hole form deep inside of me.
Oh,
And I knew that I needed to be strong for my son, but emotionally and mentally a part of me has died, and I became that person who just ticks boxes off, and I'm a mom, this is what I'm supposed to do. So I became kind of like a robot, or I used to call myself, I was a soldier that went to war that never ended, because when you're a parent you're always on
yes.
24/7, and when you're a single parent even more so. And I was living in this depressive state of mind, had suicidal thoughts, and wondering, I didn't want to wake up every morning and to relive the same reality over again,
Mm.
and waiting for something for outside of me to change, waiting for somebody to come rescue me, to escape me from my misery, so to speak.
Oh,
And what happened one day on the train to work, after dropping off one kid in one place and another one in the nursery and missing my train by a second, by a minute, I started crying and sobbing and asking myself, is this what life all about? Do we all come here to suffer? And I realized I could no longer continue living like that. I Because I felt like my best self went to work while my kids would get the leftovers. I would plaster on a smile, go through my day, because I thought everybody has their own problems. Why would they care about mine? And so on that train ride to work, I started asking this question: is this what life all about? Do we come here to suffer? And I wanted to discover something better for myself. I didn't want to settle where I was. I realized it was no longer working for me. I wanted to have more energy. I wanted to be more happy, because I thought, what kind of, like, if I'm not happy, what kind of person do my kids see? The
ooh,
broken version that is
right.
somewhere else. And another thing that happened was I had a loss of identity, sort of like a
Mm.
crisis, because I was someone else's wife, I was someone else's mom. I was married for 9 years and we knew each other for 15. I lost my identity in the process. I didn't know who I was anymore. And I started asking that question: who am I?
Mm.
What am I all about? What do I like? What do I dislike? I needed to reinvent myself, who I was being. And so, what started after that train ride is I started taking care of myself better, because nobody was coming to take care of me. It was up to me now to take care of me. And the first thing I ever did for myself was starting to take simple walks in the morning. There was this threshold over the door, and it was the point of just stepping over the threshold and taking that first step and going outside for a walk. And I know it sounds silly and so simple, but sometimes those simple things, I say, it's what little things you do every single day what makes up your whole life. It's not some grand thing that happens out of the blue. It's those micro tiny things that you do every single day that create everything else.
Thank you for saying that because a lot of what you're saying is I totally resonate with. I do. It's like we must be soul sisters because you're speaking exactly how I felt, the suicidal and depression and who am I, to my kids, who are they seeing? And yeah, that's very, very profound that you had that moment. And I'm proud of you for what you did in order to it's baby steps. Like you said, who are you? And that's what I talk about here, figuring out who you are. And I think that's awesome that you were able to do that, really and truly.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I mean, you're a shining example. But go ahead, I'm sorry. Oh, shush.
No, no. Otherwise, it will be a monologue. So then the next is, and for walking, it wasn't just walking. Yes, I was exercising my body, but I was also clearing my head. And you know how Tony Robbins have this first power hour of the day, where you go out and you say things about yourself, what kind of life
Yes.
you want to have, who you want to be. Seeing and connecting with nature is just so important, because our life, pace of life is so fast and it's so
Mhm.
fleeting. So connecting with nature was awesome. Seeing the sunrise, seeing how sky changes colors, and being right there when the day is being born was
Right.
incredible. And then it was nutrition. I became excited about nutrition. I heard a PhD professor talk on a podcast one time, and a chemistry professor talking about nutrition, digestion process from a chemical perspective. That got
Mhm.
me like, why is she talking about chemical, nutrition, digestion? But long story short, after that talk, I decided to become a vegetarian.
Wow.
Cold turkey, like
Wow.
no more meat, done. I'm not like that anymore, but at that time I was that. And as a
Wow.
unintended consequence, I lost 10 pounds. And I wasn't in bad shape or anything. I just started taking care of myself. And this is the first thing I noticed, that I lost 10 pounds. Yay,
Oh,
awesome.
yes.
And then I started doing things for emotions. And, it's practices of forgiveness. And
Mm.
I also gotten myself a voice coach and learned how to sing. And this was so much better than any session with psychologists. It allowed me to sing what I couldn't speak. It opened up my voice.
Oh,
Because for years I was quiet. I wasn't very expressive about how I felt. I didn't want to cause any trouble. I wanted things to be soft and smooth. And so I didn't speak how I felt. So
mm.
this was an opportunity for me to open up and sing, and it was amazing. I also joined Toastmasters and became comfortable with being uncomfortable and speaking with you right now. Little by little, all those things I introduced into my life. Then there was this forgiveness and gratitude. Every time we have things to be grateful for, and even in the midst of despair, and even in the midst of aggravation, disaster, we have things to be grateful for, whether it's roof over our head or food on the table, or the fact that we woke up this morning. It means
Yes.
our work here is not done. There is still things to do.
Are you sure we're not? Maybe, you're my adopted sister. Oh my gosh. Yes.
And so did all those practices, and then meditation was my latest uh, kind of. I wasn't uh, doing it so much before, so it was a latest addition into my practices overall. And I'm also a great believer of a morning routine. How you wake up, not when you wake up, but how you wake up. That's what makes it all worthwhile. What intention do you set in the morning? How do you, because in the morning you have an opportunity every day to create your day,
Mm.
whether you want to be
Yes.
happy, sad, miserable, depressed. You have it right at the start. And
Yes.
so those are kind of things that I did for myself, the tools. And I call it, now recommend to people, practice 10 minutes of joy every day. If you want to
Yes.
maintain a good oral hygiene, you brush your teeth. If you want to be happy, do 10 minutes of joy every day. Do something that sets your soul on fire. Because I believe when we are kids, like, hey, it's for kids. Hobbies are for kids. But when you're an adult, you still have that little kid inside of you, and you
Mm.
need to feed that little kid. Let him do those things that bring joy. And like, don't forget it. It's important component, I think.
Yes. Yeah, you're speaking all of my love language. And it's funny you mentioned about voice Coach, I actually have a friend I was going to reach out to because I wanted to take voice lessons, but everything you're saying is pretty much things that I've done. I mean, the Toastmasters, I didn't last long in it, but I did join another group that teaches you how to do this, how to speak publicly and share your story. So, what you're saying, and I hear this from a lot of other survivors or those that are getting over a broken relationship that now do this, it's very similar, and I think that is so cool and just really neat, and, that we're connected that way, and I'm sad that you had to go through what you had to go through in order to get there, but it sounds like that really changed your direction, and let's talk about what you do now because that's I'd like to know a little more about it.
Sure. And
Oh,
so
but,
what?
before I get how were the kids throughout this change too? I'm sure they saw that change in you.
Well, I hope I would inspire them to follow their dreams and do their passions.
They're
In
smart, they're smart. They watch, they learn. Yes.
Yeah, just today when I was dropping my son off to school, and I thought like they don't like me singing, but says, "Mom, you sing well, and we can
Oh.
like me and Maya, his sister, we can sing like you."
Oh.
Out of the blue, he says that,
Oh, that's high praise. How awesome.
and I thought I was annoying them with my singing.
Oh, oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. That's some joy for you right there. They had to make your heart just swell. Oh my goodness.
yes. So what happened in September 2019? I was in Phoenix, Arizona. It was a live event, and there was even Carmichael on stage, a YouTuber from Canada. And he said there is not enough belief in this world today, and you should help somebody who is a step behind you. So
Mhm.
this is when I decided to help women who were like myself, 5 years prior coming to the summit. The person who I used to be, this is the person who I wanted to help. And then in 2020, Reclaim Your Life was born. That's my company's name. And it all started with me creating an online course called Happiness Academy, which basically the story that I told, the steps that I took to recover, those are the components. And I believe in combination of physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual states of being, combining it all together to be happy in the end. And happy is not rainbow and unicorns all the time, but
Right.
it's the state of being. It's being happy now, to choosing to be happy, because every moment we get to decide what we want to be, and the only thing we can't control is our thoughts. That's it.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
can't go and fix something on the outside.
Yes. Dang it. I mean, I wish I could. I had that superpower, but no. Right. Well, so that was in 2019. So how did all of this look for you? Was it hard to was it hard for you to on some days just to not plaster a smile on, but to keep with that morning routine or to it's kind of rainy outside. I don't want to go for a walk, that sort of thing. How did you keep yourself motivated to to keep going with this, your new
I think my
practice?
my one of my first inspirers or mentors was Mel Robbins, and
Oh,
her
I
in
love Mel
famous
Robbins.
5 second rule. When you have like a rocket
Yes.
ship, you jump out of bed and you do this thing because we only have 5 seconds to make a decision before our mind talks us out of it.
Right.
So I concentrated on how I'm going to feel after I do this morning walk, because in the beginning it was just my walk, and then I added other components. I added meditation, I added journaling, I added reading. I also love the 5 a.m. club by Robin Sharma, and how you do, in order to create a new habit, you need actually 66 days. You need 21 days to unlearn first the old habit, then 21 days to implement new, and another 21 to make it consistent, to make it on autopilot. So in the end, because we need to rewire our thinking, and we can never kind of, if you have a habit that's not working,
Mhm.
you cannot delete that habit. You can only thing you can do is you replace it. You replace a negative habit with a positive habit. You cannot
Ooh.
completely eliminate a habit. So a lot of smokers, like when they quit smoking, they become runners or they do something else. If you look at like different conditions or different things across the spectrum.
Mhm.
You can never delete something. So that's what kept me going. How I'm going to feel after I complete my walk. And I loved sunrises. I love sunrises. You know, being on the beach. I would go to Florida just to see in the morning that I can see my sunrises. You know, the beautiful
Oh,
beach. You get to see how the sun is rising, and that's beautiful air. Incredible.
oh,
And then
that's
it becomes a practice for you. When you don't do it, you feel something is missing. And I did feel like that. Yes, I didn't do every single day. There was some days where it wasn't, or I overslept, or something happened. But those days are so few and far in between, because consistency is what makes it all worthwhile, what makes it part of your life. So I did that. I was thinking how I'm gonna feel in the end of it.
wow. And I never heard that about 66 days. 60
Yes,
days? I never heard that before. So that I just learned something new. Wow. And that explains so much why after 21 days, I'm like, okay, I've done this long enough. I'm done with it. Wow.
it's 66 if you want to make it on autopilot. So
Oh,
you don't
wow.
think about, like, when in the morning when you wake up, do you think about, oh, I'm gonna brush my teeth today, or maybe I'm gonna skip
Right.
today? Do you do that? Or do you
No,
do
just do it. Yeah.
exactly. So
Mhm.
how do you make it so that you just do it? You need 66 days at
Yeah.
least.
Okay.
He has his book called 5 a.m. Club, and that's where he talks about this thing. And I actually lead a 5 a.m. club. We had a small chapter on Mind Valley that we formed, and I'm in charge of inspiring people every morning to practice their morning routine.
Well, you've inspired me. I kind of let my own routines fall off, like the journaling, and I haven't read my Bible in a while. So, yeah, thank you for inspiring me. And I'm going to find this book. Let me plug it in here. I'm on Amazon right now. Let me copy that link and throw it down here if anybody wants that
Sure.
as well. And so let's talk about, so you are NLP and TLP? I might be. Yeah.
NLP and timeline therapy and
Okay.
hypnotherapy coach.
Okay. So what is all that? It sounds like magic.
It is magic if you think about it. NLP is about how we interact with ourselves and with the world. You compare NLP to psychology in the simplest terms. Psychology is about the content, and NLP is about the strategy, is the thinking that created the problem. So let's say you could be going to solve your depression or anxiety to psychologist for 15 years, and all
Okay.
you'll be doing is talking about it. This person said that, and this is what I said, and this is how I felt. And it's going to be ongoing because it's more like a talk therapy.
Okay.
NLP gets down to the root of the problem.
Oh,
So you don't really have to describe everything in detail. I'm You can, I call it, get down to the what was the thinking patterns that created this problem in the first place. And
okay.
I am, as a guide, can lead you there, because all change happens internally by yourself. I am, as a guide, allow you to go there. And it's also about, so, neuro linguistic programming. Imagine, like, you have a computer and you have file systems, right? You store your videos and your pictures on the computer.
Okay.
This is a computer.
Yeah.
And the programs that we run are beliefs, our values, the self-talk, things we talk to ourselves all about all the time,
Okay.
especially when nobody is listening. How
Oh,
do you talk to yourself? Are you
right.
your worst enemy? Are you your best friend? Who are you to yourself? So it's all those disciplines together. And with NLP, it's a lot of this, because we have a lot of programming. We have years and years of programming. This is our caregivers when they were raising us when we were little kids. There could
Mhm.
be like a little event that happened when you were little. Maybe somebody, like your brother, yanked a plate out of you when parents weren't looking. 5 seconds could have an impact and
Wow.
leading your life. And we have all of them. And like, it's not good or bad, it's just is. And with timeline therapy, for example, allows you to go back and remove negative emotions and
Wow.
limiting decisions. Like, if you feel I'm not good enough, or I never can complete anything, things like, and emotions like anger, sadness, grief, hurt that could go back generations, that could go back in the past. I don't know if you heard of Gestalt therapy. It's every single emotion has a Gestalt, has the first point when it happened,
Okay. Yeah, no,
when
no,
we
I haven't
first
heard of that.
experience it and kind of put words around it. Okay, this is how anger looks and feels.
Mhm.
And then all after that, all events that happen along our lives have those imprints. So this is anger again and again and again and again. And with timeline therapy, you can go back to the origin when you first time experienced anger and go and remove that.
Wow.
And it allows you, if you're not deleting your past, all we are doing is we're getting to the past and we're finding out what do we need to learn from this event. Something positive, something about yourself. And then with that new knowledge, we step forward. And what that allows you to do, you get a clean slate on life. You get to re-evaluate your events of the past and you get to imagine what it is now. And has many kind of a lot of people that have stress or depression can use that technique, and it's so much faster than going to traditional psychology therapy if you want to get your results fast and done. And you don't need to disclose if you don't feel comfortable about the details, who did what and why. It's all happening on the inside, and I am guiding you through the process.
Oh, that does sound like magic. Wow. And I'm just thinking of people that when you mentioned that about therapy, how many people have spent so much money and so much time. And, I can think of somebody off the top of my head, been 5 years in counseling and still has not found any resolve or resolution. Wow, that sounds really cool. And now could there be, if somebody's like that, could there be, besides having a bad person, maybe they don't work well together and you know what I mean? But also, could there be blocks there that we all have because we don't want to confront that anger or whatever
Yes.
that sorrow is?
Of course, there are blocks. In our mind, there are prime directives of our mind. One of the things our mind does is protects ourselves. So if we are not ready, some things might not be presented. The things that need to be resolved, our mind presents to us. Okay, now I'm ready. So if I'm working with somebody through a breakthrough session and we're in good rapport, the person trusts me, I trust the person, and the mind feels at ease. So it will bring those additional blocks as we go through the process. And once you remove those, especially the negative emotions,
Mhm.
this is how you start. First, you remove your core 6 negative emotions, and then your mind already feels at ease because this is the process. And it's like, okay, now I'm ready. So it's gonna present a memory or present something that needs to be cleared and it's ready. We can never go against the mind because our mind's job is to protect us, to
Yes.
keep us safe. So if it doesn't feel safe, that's why we have so many repressed memories.
Mm.
Sometimes things happen in the past and we have like a block over it because at this time we are not ready to resolve this. So it's only going to come up for resolution when we are ready.
Oh.
And our mind is going to determine that, not you, but your mind is going to determine when you are ready, when you feel enough to resolve that thing. It's incredible because how you call it, the transformation, the change that happened, it's not like physical, some like it's not this,
Right.
but it's something you feel. And of course there is integration time that happens for you to incorporate everything. And also evaluating your values, we get to see what are your values, what are your core values, and for different people it's different things. And you can also establish, we also have strategies. You know that we have a strategy, how you love somebody, how you buy something, how you do one thing. We all have strategies,
I'm
how
looking
we
at you
run,
like what?
how we operate things.
Okay.
And the language, there is a lot about that can be said about language, the way we speak, spoken word, written word, how we speak to ourselves.
Okay.
Because every time you speak something, your mind is always listening.
It is.
It doesn't process negatives. So when you say I don't want to be poor, your mind is only going to hear the poor part, it's not going to hear the don't. It's
Right.
very literal, and it always wants to please you. Have you ever noticed, have you gone to a dealership and you wanted to get a certain type of car, certain model, and you go, you test drive it, you look, okay, I'm gonna think about it. Then you leave the dealership, everywhere you look, and you have exactly that car.
Yes.
Why? Because you set an intention first. You gave your conscious mind, I want to get a car. Subconscious mind said, okay, I'm on it. So now everywhere you go, you're gonna see this car. Because our conscious mind is a goal setter and our unconscious mind is a goal getter. And another name for it is also reticular activating system that allows you to see this specific car. That car was always there, but for you it was not important, so you skim through it, because our mind, everything that happens is about 11, I call it, 1,000 bits of information that's floating around. But our mind can only process 126 bits of information.
Wow. That's
So
crazy.
our mind, and it's good, it's for a good thing, because if, if you take everything, you'd go crazy.
Right.
Because think of it this way, let's say, imagine, I don't know where I heard this exercise, you're a pencil,
Okay.
and you only, I call it, a top part of you, like where you see what's going on, you only see a specific zoomed in version of what's going on. There could be gazillion things going, could be flowers blooming here, there could be fire going on this side, there could be kids running around over there. But what are you focusing on? This is what you're gonna see, and you're gonna ignore everything else. Imagine
And
having a flashlight in the woods and you point it to specific direction. This is what's going on. This is what you're going to consume. So getting car important? Okay, here's the car. And you're gonna see it and see it and see it and see it all the time. Just like one example.
well, no, and that's true with our relationships too. When we're going through some sort of trauma or devastation, breakup, death, or something like that, that's all we become fixated on, and we don't notice those beautiful things around us because, and that's all we see. That's all we're in at that time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we also see things as we are, not as what they are. So
Wow.
our
And
own filter.
you mentioned the pencil, and I am, because I mentioned to you before we started about my fluffiness. So the pencil that I envision in my head, I'm one of those chunky ones that you get when you're like a preschool. So I know I have some some weight challenges, I and body image challenges I need to really think about.
Yeah.
I'm not
What
a
I
slim
didn't
pencil, a
yeah.
chunky pencil.
What I didn't mention about the pencil. Imagine you have eyes, you know where the writing part is, right?
Okay.
But imagine you have eyes everywhere around the pencil, on top, on the side, on all the sides. And this is the information that how you perceive things when you're at different level.
Ooh.
Because when you're at the level of writing, all you see is the paper
Right.
and what you're writing. You don't see everything what's going on.
Right. Right. Wow. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for
Sure.
that. That definitely changes my perspective. That does. Wow. And so you used a lot of these techniques. I'm going to take it on yourself. So
Yeah.
how, and now are you still a work in progress? It's not like, oh, overnight you're cured or your
Yeah.
problems are gone, and it's a
It,
process.
it's a
Is there
process.
like a typical, like, okay, depending on the level of issues, a year, 6 months, how does that work, with your program?
It depending what you want to change. So
Okay.
the way I work, there is a micro. We can do a micro version in 3 days.
Mhm.
Just get it done like day and night, all day. Or it's like we have a 12-week program where we meet 1 to 2 hours per week
Wow.
across 12 weeks, and we work on specific problem. Not everything, just one problem. And we get to choose whether you want to do business breakthrough or personal or relationships, and then we work on that. And it's not, you think it's just one problem, but what happens is, doesn't matter what problem it is, it touches all areas of your life. Your
Yes.
relationship with your family, your relationships with the world in general around you, how you think about yourself, because it all gets like touching points all around. And then you just solve this one problem. And then there is another. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Recovering from cold.
Oh.
So there is just, one problem. So 12 weeks to solve one problem.
Mhm.
And we get to work on different how you see yourself with that problem as it relates to your family, how you see yourself in the past, how you see yourself in the present. And it's not just how you call it. There is of course there is always homework. It's not what we do during the session, but also what you do by yourself.
Ooh.
You get tasking, you get things to do. And then you utilize, those modalities that I learned about. And yeah.
Yeah, well, sure, you have to have some sort of accountability, for
Yes.
yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. And you know how you mentioned too when your brain is ready to start confronting other things. So I'm just picturing like a package just being unwrapped as as you're talking about this, as you heal one area of your issues, then something else opens and it does. It's all connected, even though we don't realize that. And as you said, that our brain protects ourselves until we're ready to go and open that door. And there's been a few times when my brain has decided you're ready for this and it's happened. And I'm like, whoa, no, wrap that puppy back up. I am not ready to open this up. We're going to tuck that back in over here. I'm not ready. But your brain is telling you, you're so right that, hey, you're ready. You can get through this, or we
Yeah.
can dive into this and you'll be safe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And your world opens up just a little more, and you get to
Ooh,
see different things,
oh, I like
things
that.
you thought you knew, and how you reacted, because we also tell stories to ourselves
Mhm.
about the past, about who we are. Every single day we tell a story, and it's a matter if it's a good story or a bad story. And also, do you believe in it? Because we are constantly programming our computer.
Right.
And another a good point to mention, on you have a phone, you have a computer. How often do you get notifications to renew the software? New versions are come out,
Right.
right?
Often.
Every month, right?
Right.
But our beliefs and our values, once installed, you could be living for 30, 40 years with the same program, never get an update, never get an upgrade. And those programs are running your life
Ooh.
because we don't refresh it on continuous basis. We usually wait for something bad to occur before we start
Mm,
questioning our life, our existence, like loss of identity or
yeah,
some, uh, you know, negative thing happened. And we are not prepared. We have this beautiful fairy tale when we are little kids that we're going to grow up, everything's going to be great. We're going to have happily ever after. So we
right.
are not prepared for those bones that get thrown. We are not prepared for those things. And I think if this information is taught in school age, we'll have
Yeah.
less sad kids, depressed kids. Um, it's just, I think, world is going to be beautiful.
Oh,
If
have you thought about bringing this to a school? Could you tailor it to like school age kids and teenagers?
yes, it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if you yourself can go and mentor kids like this. That would be phenomenal. That'd be a great way to start just to get that ball rolling.
Yeah, yeah,
That would be
yeah,
awesome. And if you're not, please do that. Really, because you're right. It needs to start when they're young to break those bonds.
yes,
Wow. And remember me when you're rich and famous. Okay? Just saying. But it's funny that you mentioned about the car. I told my husband, Mr. Awesome, his name is Terry, it's like,
mhm,
"I'm gonna be a millionaire." He goes, "We're gonna be billionaires." So on my feed, apparently my phone has heard this and my computer's heard this. I've got these things for billionaire clubs and this billionaire wrote this book. It's like, "Okay, universe, you bring it on. Let's do this." Bring on that $1 billion idea. Let's do this. I'm ready.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
that's good programming for you.
I thought, yes, I think so. I think so. Yes. Oh, this is truly really just inspiring and wow, I learned a lot.
Thank you.
I did. I learned a lot. So if anybody wants to take part, of course, you have all of this and you have your own podcast. So let's
Yes,
talk about your podcast.
sure. So podcast also started as an inspiration back in 2020. We're a toddler now, 2 years old. And it all started with me having this idea because I wished there was a resource like that for me when I became a single parent.
Okay.
But there was nothing like that, so I created it. And I had people who believed in this idea that I interviewed single parents, and all I really wanted like a pat on the back or somebody like it's gonna work out basically. So I
Right.
interviewed past and present single parents to share their stories of struggles, of things they overcome, to inspire present single parents who are just stepping onto the journey of becoming that.
Oh,
And I had met so many amazing people across those 2 years. It's been an incredible journey. I learned a lot, and I also interview experts to help navigate the post-divorce journey. So that's kind of because this is what I do, to help navigate the post-divorce journey, to realize that life after divorce is possible. It can even be great. So I had the people all over the world. Uh, I connected with them and shared their stories of struggles, of inspiration, of advice that they can share, things they wish they knew. If they could go back in the past and give advice, what
mhm.
kind of advice would they give them to themselves when they were just beginning to be single parents?
Right.
So it's been an amazing experience, and I'm really
Oh,
grateful for people who believed in the idea and were willing to share their stories.
oh, that sounds really cool. And I'm thinking of a person right in mind. Her name is Holly Hartman. She does the solo dating challenge, and she's a single mom, and she's just sharing how to have that self love for yourself. And that's what she did. She rebuilt herself and started taking herself out on dates. So I need to connect you two together. I'm going to tag her in this right now and say, "Hey, Miss Holly, you need to be connected." So
Awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
she's
also
amazing.
working on another, like my second podcast, which is going to be called Reclaim Your Life with Irina. And
Oh,
on that one, I will be sharing, because the single parent success stories is mostly interview style,
okay.
where I bring others. I don't speak much, but I get to interview. And this one, I'll be teaching and sharing myself, and also have some interviews for people who had a wake up call in their life, who reclaimed their life. And what was that wake up call? So I'm going to be interviewing those people and also sharing about self love, sharing about empowering thoughts, conquering negative beliefs and teaching throughout.
Awesome. Oh, I can't wait for that. Awesome.
Yeah.
How fun. Look at you grow. That's awesome. Wow. Now, did you ever think that you would have the life 7 years ago to now? Did you ever imagine this, what you're living now?
No. I felt like it was all downhill. It was all life ended basically. I realized it would never going to be the same, but I could never imagine doing what I'm doing now. I also became a published author. I just published. I co-authored the book that came out. It became a bestseller last April 4th, last week.
Oh, very cool. Now, I didn't have that information. Now I gotta
Yeah,
go run over here and check out do you have it on your, Facebook?
it is on my Linktree. I think I
On your
added it. It's on
okay.
Amazon. It's called Sacred Surrender. And
Sacred.
in the book, I'm basically sharing a story of surrender, reclaim how I reclaimed my life,
Ooh.
amongst other 18 or 17 authors who were sharing their stories of surrender. Beautiful stories of across the world. It was incredible
Oh,
opportunity. It was
how
one of my dreams to become a writer, and it happened.
oh, how cool. I'm looking for your your link tree that you gave me. I'm looking, I'm looking. How cool.
Yeah,
Wow, congratulations. I'm gonna put that down here too.
thank you.
And my messenger, of course, has decided we're not gonna work right now. Okay, so I'm gonna go on my phone. Cool. So what else is in the works for you then? I mean, you've got where do you find the time? You got a podcast, you are an author. Awesome.
Yes, I'm
And
crazy like that.
I think that's awesome.
I believe in personal development, so there is it's never how you call you always learn something about yourself, about the world, and I've been on that personal development journey. I've been a part of, I don't know if you heard of Mind Valley. I've been part of Mind Valley community,
Mind Valley. I don't know if I've heard of Mind Valley.
and on there, what they're trying to do is they're trying to revolutionize the education system,
Okay.
and they have amazing programs and courses uh, about the mind, about biology, whatever you wanna get better at, they have that.
Oh, well, that sounds neato.
And they run like quests and different programs. So I've been part of it, I think, since 2018 or 2017.
Uh-huh.
So recently, I also completed Hollow Body certification with Mind Valley, and this is all about wellness. You know how we have a sick care system, and this
Mhm.
is about having a healthcare system. Getting vitamin D, getting exercise, moving your body, getting right amount of sleep. So I completed that last year, and currently finishing up a 10x fitness certification, which is all about longevity and strength. How would you like to spend 30 minutes per week, build muscle, feel great, become awesome, and then that it becomes part of your lifestyle. You don't dread going to the gym. You actually can, if you want, you can just work out at home, because they have two different versions. You have a home workout or you have a gym workout. 30 minutes per week, that's all
Wow.
you need, because it's concentrated exercise too, and you work out until you build muscle, until muscle failure. So you,
That
you don't you
sounds
don't just go to the gym. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna run around. You have a specific concentrated container with which inside of which you work,
that sounds so neat. Look at all this magic you do. This sounds so cool.
because it
Wow.
kind of filled my paradigm. The physical component, I
Okay.
was doing a lot of it already, but with those two disciplines, I got the scientific backing behind it and structure.
Right. 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 Which helps. Sometimes you go and you talk to different people and they like that accreditation or,
Yeah, and
to
you
know
go
that you
through, it's not just that, but you go through your personal transformation first. You get to experience
right.
it on yourself. And I did learn a lot of great things, about whole foods, eating whole foods and moving your body and walking, and fitness.
Yeah, and that all ties together.
Yeah.
That all ties
And then
together.
it becomes your lifestyle. It's not something you dread of doing. This is how you live. This is how you wake up. Just you like when you don't think about brushing your teeth, you just brush them.
And it's funny you mentioned that because I've got a bunch of I did a juice fast, which I didn't do. I replaced 1 or 2 meals with juicing a couple weeks ago, but yet the rest of the day I ate so crappily, or there were actually days where I ate really good. I did my juicing throughout the whole day, I think for like 3 days, and then I
Mhm.
gained 5 pounds, and then in frustration for with my body, it's like, "I'll show you. I'm gonna have some cookies. I'm gonna eat pizza. Do you take that, body?" So I don't know why I did that, but I did that. But I have a pile of vegetables and fruit in my refrigerator that I even thought today is like, I got a juice. So thank you.
You gotta make it interesting for your body.
Yes.
And
Again,
oftentimes we don't listen to our body.
no,
And our body is always talking. And
it is.
like are we listening? When you need rest, go take a rest.
Right.
When you need sleep, or when you need, sometimes we think we are hungry, but we're actually thirsty.
Ooh,
Next
I
time
like
you feel the hunger pangs and it's not your regular lunch,
Take it.
breakfast, dinner,
Okay.
take a sip of water, see how
I'm
you
gonna
feel.
do that. Okay, I'm gonna do that for sure before I reach for those cookies or those tortillas,
Yes.
pasta. I'm
And
gonna do
ask
that.
yourself, is this what the best version of me is going to eat? Is this
Ooh,
good for me when you take that cookie? Because deep inside you know what's good for you.
that's true. That's true.
Sometimes it's hard to resist the urge, but deep
Yes,
down you know.
it is. It is. Yes, and especially if I'm scrolling like on social media, I'll Instagram or Pinterest, and you see those good
Beautiful.
yummy food things, and it's like, oh, it's 2 in the morning, and I'm in the kitchen making pancakes. Just because I get so hungry. So yeah, but yeah, I'll do that from now on. I'll go ahead and I'll drink something instead. Water or lemon water. Yes, yes. You're probably thinking, "What a crazy lady." This is
No.
okay. Oh, well, thank you. This has been just I've learned like I said, I've learned a lot. My goodness, I've
Awesome.
learned a bunch. Yeah. Oh, you know what I wanted to ask too? So tell me about your T-shirts.
Yes. T-shirts, I had a, how you call it, when I was a little girl, I had a dream of becoming a fashion designer.
Oh,
But that dream never happened. I became an analyst. I was doing corporate stuff and did computer information systems and mortgages and all
oh,
kinds of things. And I always wanted to create. And I thought that when I start doing the t-shirts, this is to realize my dream of becoming a fashion designer. Maybe I should I start with t-shirts because oftentimes I go to a store, I look at this beautiful material, and it makes my heart sad what kind of design they make out of it. Like, you can do so much better things with this. Why did you make that?
oh, wow. Now have you just thought about making your own clothes just, as a hobby?
I wanna. It's one of my. I ticked off one dream, becoming a writer. So I'm gonna do the other
Good.
directions. Another dream I have is of singing on stage in front of thousands of people, and having my own fashion design company.
Ooh,
That'd be awesome.
that would be awesome. That would be. Oh, I'd sign up to see you. Definitely. I'll be in the audience. Yes. Yeah. You're putting it out there. Yes. Awesome. Well, it's been such a pleasure having you on today. Thank you, Rena. It's really, I truly enjoyed this, and thank you for sharing those vulnerable parts. I
Thank you.
appreciate that. And please show her some love. The links are in the comment section. Visit her, buy the book, visit her t shirts, listen to her podcast. She does have online courses as well. I'm going to pop that up here right now. And yeah, just watch this magic woman here, this magic warrior woman, just continue to grow and inspire. So thanks again. I'm going to sign on off. I hope you have a great rest of your day, everybody that's listening on the podcast too. And thank you for tuning in. Stay safe. Bye bye.
Thank you.